This is Performance Theory with Mike Clark.
It seems like everybody is becoming a personal trainer nowadays. That means there's more competition than ever before. How are you going to succeed where many others have failed? How are you going to stand out from the crowd? These questions can be terrifying to those who are starting a personal training business. But if you've been in the industry for a while, you're no stranger to competition, right? All you need to do in order to break away from the pack is to know where to begin. In today's podcast, we're going to be talking to Ben De Zwart, learning some helpful tips to get your personal training business started the right way. Hey, Ben, how's it going?
Hey, I'm good. Mike, how are you doing?
Excellent. Thanks for joining me today on the podcast.
Yeah, of course.
I've been following you for a while now, and I think it's really important information that you're putting out there because so many trainers are failing in their business. And they don't know why, because they never tell you, like for those trainers that did go to actual school for this, they don't tell you that it's hard to get clients.
No.
And that's one of the things that they kind of skip over the business part of it. Yeah. Yep. Some courses really get you and they give you all the anatomy, but then they don't give you the business background.
Yeah, I fully agree with that.
So, Ben, let's hear just a little bit about you. What's your background?
Sure. So I've been in the industry now for going on like well over 10 years. And I started in Victoria, BC. I ran, I'll just call it a box gym out there. And I got that club running pretty effectively and efficiently. So I became the manager within like 2 months of that location. I grew it from 0 trainers up to 13.
Wow.
I then had the opportunity to advance my career, but I had to move to Saskatoon to do it. So I packed up my kids. I shipped all my stuff over to Saskatoon, and I had the opportunity of training over 30 trainers at the Saskatoon location. Doing high volume of personal training, which really gave me another insight on, the sales side of things and having to deal with really strong personalities and just different personality types of obviously different trainers. But I came to a point where I felt like I was kind of at the top at the box gym. I couldn't really advance any further. My bosses couldn't tell me a 5-year plan anymore. And, I was just over 30 at the time. And the last thing I want to have is a cap on my career.
Yeah, exactly.
So I got discouraged and frankly, I got bored. So I quit. I was making really good money at the time, over 6 figures, but it still didn't really make a difference. So I quit. I left. I went to insurance. So I really liked the sales aspect. So I tried that. Hated it. Don't like selling insurance, just not my deal. I'll just put it that way. And step back into doing PT again. And this time I went to a CrossFit box who had no experience of PT. I've been doing that for probably about like 16, 18 months, if you were to include COVID. And we're just shy of $500,000 of PT sales.
That's awesome.
Under 2 years. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked. So that's kind of like my background. And right now I'm looking to dive more into teaching trainers, more of the business side of things.
And that I think is so important, because a lot of these guys, they've been building their business for years, or they're a fresh trainer, then boom, the pandemic hits. And I know just from looking at my Instagram, there's a lot of trainers here in Edmonton that just lost like the majority of their clientele, or there's new trainers coming onto the market, and it was right around that graduation time, and they had nothing. And now they're looking to build basically from the bottom up, and they have no idea how to approach this. So on your Instagram, I've noticed that you give out free tips all the time. Like if you're doing this, and this, don't stop. These are the best tips on growing your business. So how would you approach this to start out? Like I've seen so many people, and you actually posted about this the other day, where to advertise. They're doing Kijiji. They're doing.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
Well, don't post on Kijiji. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much. So it all depends on if this is something you want to do as a hobby. So, hobby trainers, hobby fitness enthusiasts, I guess you could call them, by all means, post on Kijiji because you have a side gig and any extra hour is a good hour, right?
Yep.
But I would never hire a hairstylist off Kijiji. It's not something I'm really going to look into getting like a tattoo artist or something like that. So somebody that I think is very professional, I'm not going to go off of those bases. But I think the biggest things for building a business is building trust. I think that's the first and foremost thing that trainers need to have, or any professional needs to have, is just a huge amount of trust that the person sitting across the table from them, or the person reading their Instagram post, or the person that's taking the time to give them some attention knows that they are the expert in their field. Okay. Even if you're brand spanking new, you can still be an expert at the most basic stuff possible and get 99% of your client base to their goals. So, I think that's the hugest thing is trust, and where to post. Geez, there's everywhere, honestly. You need to get your name out everywhere and anywhere that people will take it. You're going to notice real quick what's working and what's not working for you, but it's all based off of who your demographic is as well.
So in your opinion, I've seen so many of these girls out there that are trying to get clientele. And so what are they doing? You've seen these girls too. The girls that are influencers that aren't wearing a lot, or those guys that are always constantly posting shirtless pics. Does that work?
No. It's a great way to get, I guess you could call them like false followers. So you're going to get the bros, and you're going to get the fit girl gang, and so on and so forth, that's kind of following you, but they're following you based off of they basically just want to sleep with you. They don't want to buy you, or in a professional manner, I guess is the easiest way to say that.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for attention, by all means, it works. If you're looking for clients, you might get the 19 to 24, 25-year-old client, which, if that's your deal, cool. But it's not really a long-term business venture that you're going to take into account, because it's not sustainable. And frankly, your client base that you're promoting to doesn't have any bloody money.
Exactly. That's one of the things I've been trying to press out to a bunch of trainers that I've been talking to is, if they're in that range, they don't have any money to train with you. You need to advertise to the people that have more education. So you need to put out content, not just a picture.
Yeah. The largest group that people are going to purchase is going to be between, I'd say 35 to 40, upwards to 65, and more so females than males is what I find. Most of the clients that you're going to be looking at are going to be nurses. That's a huge, huge area.
It's funny you say that, because a good portion of mine are.
Yeah, there's so many nurses that do it, and or people that have shift work, right? So shift work, entrepreneurs, CEOs, people that travel a lot and can't do group fitness classes because their classes or their time slots are too erratic. So if you were to reach out to that sort of person, the person that has their kids are a little bit more grown up, so they can take care of themselves at home, they have a little bit more disposable income, and it's time for them. Start promoting to them. I guarantee you're going to start having a lot more success on a higher dollar per member, as well as sustainable, as in keeping that member for years, not just 6 sessions or 10 sessions. So
speaking of advertising, do you do any paid advertising? Like, I know with myself, for my company, not for myself personally, but for my actual company, we do Facebook, which also now ties into the Instagram. And it seems to be getting a good bang for your buck. I think it's one of the best ones. Have you used that one, or is there something else that you found that's more effective?
Yeah. So the advertising that we're using for my gym right now, so we definitely do Instagram, Facebook marketing. Um, I'm much more diligent on marketing to specific demographics. So I know who my demographic is for my gym. I know the type of person I'm going for. So I zone in on that particular person, which we have very, very good success rate on.
And that's one of the good things about the Facebook marketing and Instagram marketing is you can target that specific group.
Exactly. So if I want a male or female at age this or age that, you can make it very, very particular. So that's really, really handy in knowing who your audience is, which is, a big thing in knowing who actually looks at your Instagram or your Facebook or what have you. A large part of our marketing as well is just referrals. So all of my trainers, I really highly instill having referral sort of programs, as well as the easiest way to keep your clients or gain more clients, pardon me, is to keep the ones you got. Okay. So that's the biggest thing, is that most Globo gyms are just based off of numbers. They don't care if they lose 15 members per month because they're going to gain another 15 members. It's just a numbers game. Yeah. I know, because I had to teach my trainers that for, 8 years. Now going into a smaller, more local gym, it's all about client retention. You got to keep the ones you got, keep them super happy. And I guarantee if you keep them super happy, they're going to bring you more people and they're never going to leave. And it's the easiest and it's the cheapest marketing because it's free. And it's the most effective, where you're going to get the highest rate of warm leads coming in as well.
Exactly. That's one of the things that we found quite a bit is, actually just today, I've had 2 sisters that have been training with me for about 5-6 years. And now, out of the blue, I had a spot open up and I'm like, you know what? Are your husbands possibly interested in training? And they're like, oh no, they'd never do that. And then sure enough, right, actually about 15 minutes before this call, they're like, do you think they could come in and possibly check things out tomorrow? They're looking at maybe getting back into working out.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
So things like the pandemic have been obviously pretty hard on trainers. How have you been approaching it? Have you been doing a lot of online training, Zoom training?
Yeah. So, me particularly, no. I did online training the first lockdown. So back in March, I did online training. We did some Zoom stuff, or I did some Zoom stuff myself. I found I just don't like it. It's not a good fit for me personally.
Yep.
I've been doing one-on-one for too damn long, so I'm taking a different route. I'm just not doing that. I gave my clients free stuff. But as for my team, they are all doing online training. So for them, it's a big focus on building out their client base even further. The people that we currently have, we had a lot opt in to do like group classes, so group Zoom classes. We have True Coach as our platform that we're currently using for our online clients. In addition to, we do nutrition coaching as well. So we have a few people doing nutrition coaching. So, there's a few different options. And then worst case scenario, we're just doing like weekly phone check-ins just so we can have a high level of communication with our clients and seeing if we can give them YouTube videos if they don't feel that they can actually attain the online accountability and pay for it. Yeah. We just want to, again, keep the clients we got.
Yeah, that's what we were doing. I was doing the online stuff as well during the first one, and currently we're still open, but the way numbers are looking, we've got about a week left, and I imagine the gyms are going to get shut down.
Yeah, plan for it. I got to say, plan for it. Hopefully your trainers aren't spending cash on frivolous things and they're prepared.
Yeah, we've been, they axed the group training, except there was it's any cardio group training, but they actually never said that. They just said group training. So there's so many companies that just shut down completely. But when you actually look at the specifics, you could still do group training with 3 to 4 people, but it only had to be weight training. So it just couldn't have the cardio component. So we've been still doing the one-on-one training or two-on-one training for a group class, I guess. We've cut down our numbers to 2 people max per class, but that way they get spread out really well.
Yeah.
So we've been trying to retain clients as like that as much as we can. But then I think this is going to be a good opportunity if we do shut down to gain some more people as well. Because there's so many group class or so many companies shutting down, like around here at least. The spin studios are all shut down. The Orange Place is shut down. 45 is shut down. And people are hungry. They're chomping at the bit to get back to fitness.
Well, that's the thing is, when it comes to gaining clients, and if your trainers are concerned about gaining clients, you need to realize that the amount of people that are wanting to purchase training has not gone down. The only thing that has gone down is their ability to go into your gym to purchase it. So I know a lot of trainers are concerned about starting an online business for themselves because the market's saturated. Good. When the market's saturated, it means that everyone is aware that this is a viable option, which is already marketed by everyone else, which makes your job easier because your client base will come to you first if you're the one offering it.
Yeah.
So it's, it's like all these big gyms have been doing all the free marketing or the paid marketing, pardon me.
Yeah.
And you can piggyback off it and be totally okay with it. As long as you're creating content that actually has a purpose and you're having some call to actions at the end. I think that's a big thing that trainers are not doing, is that they're not promoting themselves and then closing the deal at the end by saying, I'm looking for clients, sign up with me. Be aware of not just giving away free information for nothing.
Yeah. Now, saying that, I'm looking for clients, how well does, and because you've seen this on Instagram, I've only got 3 spots left. Sign up today. How well does that actually work?
I hate it.
Yeah.
I think it's non-integral. It makes you look like a complete novice, in my opinion, because we all know you have more than 3 spots left.
Yeah.
Because you're trying to create some scarcity, but it's not actually working. Now, it does work on some instances. If you are opening up a brand new group, let's just say, and it's actually factual that you have 3 spots left and you do it once in a blue moon, by all means. But if you're doing this every other week, well, guess what? Your people are going to catch on to it really darn quick.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't work.
It's like that company down the street that's always going out of business, right?
Exactly. Right. You're basically going to start making it so that people can't trust you. And that's why I say trust is the most important thing. So whenever somebody purchases something, they have to trust you. That's the first and foremost thing. They have to want the product, they have to want the product and trust the product. So you are the product. They have to trust you and they have to trust the company. So if those 3 things are in place, you're that much more likely to get them to say yes at the end and increase their level of certainty, because their certainty has to be at a 10 out of 10 or as close as possible. But if one of those 3 things are out of place because they don't trust you, they think you're a skeezy salesperson, then I guarantee they're gonna come up with some sort of excuse of, I want to think about it, I have to talk to my wife, so on and so forth. But it's just a nice way for them saying one of those three things was not strong enough.
Now, how important do you think it is for people to, I guess, back up their claims? So, you see all those trainers that put out all of their information like, oh, I've got this degree, I've got this certification, but they got the certification, but they don't know how to apply it. Is it even worth them dropping all their certifications online and showing people what they've got? Or do people actually care? In my opinion, I mean, I've got a ton of certifications, and I basically put that I'm a fitness coach, And that's about it. I don't put the fact I've got a kines degree or I've got this or I've got this because, in my opinion, I don't think they care.
No, it's I can vouch the same thing. I've never had a client ask me what my certifications are. I've never had a client. Well, I've had clients ask me if I have my kin degree, which I don't. And I've never had a sale fall through because of it. So in short, no, I don't think they care. Most trainers like to state their certifications, as a way to puff up their own chest or just being proud of the hard work they put in. And if you have a kin degree, by all means, I applaud you because that's probably pretty damn hard. Is it viable for the career? Heck no.
No.
Not in the slightest. I think, it's a large investment for a small return. I'll put it that way. So putting your balls into that basket of being like, well, I'm this level of trainer. I'm this, letters behind my name. No, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Other trainers might care, but people who are buying don't care.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. I mean, we've got these awards that get handed out in Edmonton, and it's Personal Trainer of the Year award or Fitness Place of the Year award. And so many times I see these people milking that for years. Like that entire year, they're like, oh, I was the Personal Trainer of the Year, and that's on their Instagram like every couple posts. And myself, I won 3 years in a row, and I think I might have made 3 posts about it in total. I'm like, all right, because you know what? Let's be honest, it's a local award.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's a popularity award. That's
yeah. And so taking a look at some other aspects of the business, how would you best approach some, finding that new client outside of does cold calling work as well? Like going door to door and, just dropping cards off?
I'll be honest. I've never done that when it comes to PT. Everyone that my trainers or I call, I have a purpose to call them. So I've never had to cold call anybody to be a client. Could I see it working? I guess it all depends on if you have a little bit of trust built up with that person already. So I guess it can't be a cold, but it has to be warm at least. You have to have some purpose. Would I ever tell my trainers to do that? Not a chance. Would I ever do it? Not a chance. So yeah, it's, that's where I'd pay a little bit more on the marketing.
Yeah.
Trying to get a little bit more warm leads. If you can't afford that, networking, you must network in this business. The same thing that you and I are doing right now. We live in completely different cities, but we still know some of the same people because the industry is really small. So getting the best practices and from different people is really, really important. And the more your name can pop up on other people's stories and other people's feeds, the higher your credibility comes and the easier it will be to close people because you're more credible, i.e. you have a higher amount of trust.
I think that's such a big thing in the industry that trainers are trying to almost like cannibalize each other, whereas we should all be working together. Like one of my clients, I'm in South Edmonton, and one of my clients is moving to North Edmonton. I know a trainer up there, and realistically, my client's like, listen, it's an hour drive. I'm not going to come down. Who do you know up there? And so I referred to this person, and this trainer was like blown away. They're like, oh, I would never refer. Like, that's my client. I'm like, but aren't you looking for the best possible option for your client? Like, it's still a person, but they just have no interest in working together or in cooperation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I'd say that's pretty common. I find that trainers are kind of like lone wolves most of the time. They want to do it by themselves for some reason. And I feel that they need to fail a bunch of times before they finally figure out, when to start asking questions. which is really too bad, because I feel that the more you kind of pass clients back and forth, the more both names are going to be explained in a higher authority, and you're going to get more business for everyone. Again, it just comes down to the client getting the best, as you were saying, right? It's not coming down to, it's mine, I'm keeping it. It's a horrible mindset.
As far as content goes, if you're trying to gain a client, what's better? Is it better to throw, like in your experience, have you found that pictures work better, or is it a video? So if we're looking at something like either Facebook or Instagram, what's going to grab more attention? A picture with a good explanation, or just a simple video?
That's a good question. I think it has to depend on context, to be honest. So if you're looking for, pictures are really great for people that are just quickly scrolling through Instagram or through Facebook, and maybe it's a comparison between A and B. Okay, like, there's lots of nutrition sort of infographics. So John Berardi does it a lot, especially with like precision nutrition stuff. Those are really, really handy if it's clear and concise. What doesn't work with a picture, if it's just a picture of your butt and you have an explanation of some person's random quote, that's not going to work getting you a bunch of clients. Not my experience. Or it's not going to land you a lot of respect in the industry, because it's not really getting you much. Now, a video might be really handy if it's a long explanation, and you might lose context in way of your explanation through the text on the bottom. Your tonality isn't going to come out. Your body language isn't going to be showcased, or it could be that you're doing an on the floor assessment on the floor, or a movement pattern on the floor. So I think it all depends on the information that you're trying to give to the people. People have a very, very short attention span nowadays. So if it is in a video format, what I do find is subtitling it does help, because people just don't want to click on on the picture to get the volume turned up. So they'll just keep scrolling.
What have your trainers been doing outside of online? Are they creating some other stuff on the back end for when reopening happens for you guys? Because you guys are locked down for how long?
We don't know, to be honest.
Oh, really?
So we've been locked down for about a week now. Exactly a week. And it's going to be at least 3 more weeks.
Wow.
Lockdown. So it's going to be I think they said 2 weeks at first. And then I think the day after they said it's going to be mandatory 4 weeks. So dependent on what the numbers look like at the end of that. But it's also going to be December 11th or December 12th if we were to be able to open back up. And you've been in the industry long enough knowing that December 12th is pretty bloody slow anyways. Yeah. December is kind of a 1.5 week month. So to be honest, I'm kind of making it so that they're prepped for like January 8th. Okay. January 6th or 8th. Because things don't start to happen until about January 8th every single year.
Yeah.
They're hungover still, they're broke.
Yeah. That's one thing that I think is going to hurt a lot of trainers this upcoming years. Like right now, between now and January 1st is that time where people are like, you know what, I'm going to start making a difference. And once lockdowns start happening, I think it's going to hurt a lot of industries.
Oh yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of money not being spent. But there's also a lot of people that would normally be flying out into the States. They can't leave right now. So all these snowbirds are just sitting still, and they have a few extra $1,000 in their pockets that they normally spend on this vacation that they can't spend anymore. Yeah. So be aware that just because a lockdown is happening, there are some people that are not making money, but there are lots of people making tons of money.
I think this is the time when you got to go full tilt. This is where, you know what, even if you're creating content out of your house, if you're locked down, or if you're able to get back into your gym, just as a trainer, start creating content, right? Like make as much of it as you can right now. You got time.
Yeah, that's the thing is, it's creating content, it's reading, it's doing courses online, it's networking, It's anything but just sitting on your bloody butt, waiting for things to restart again. That's the worst thing you can possibly be doing right now. Anything that can generate any sort of revenue or additional income streams are very, very important right now. So it's the one thing with being a trainer that's a really positive thing is that we can have multiple different income streams coming in at the exact same time. So for instance, you can have one-on-one training, you can have group training, 2 different income streams. You can have online training, you could be doing nutrition coaching, you could be doing, you can even make food. So you can be doing food prep. I have coaches that do that and deliver the food off to the people as well. So there are lots of different ways that you can create content that's paid content that can be all done from home as well. Course creation online, mentorship, so on and so forth. So it's kind of figuring out what's best suited for you and then finding that audience because they're all sitting at home on their phones right now, guaranteed.
Yeah.
So it's, it's an opportunity. I do not see this pandemic as being a bad thing. I'm actually pretty stoked to be at home right now because I'm creating content so much. And I know that when the gyms reopen again, the revenue that we're going to get is going to be over and above. The last 2 months that we had were our best months by almost double what I did prior.
That's what I found as well is had a huge influx, at least on my clients. I had clients that were reactivating from 5 years ago. Exactly.
So it's not all lost. It's a big thing I want trainers to know is it's not all lost. The sales cycles, sales trends are still going to happen. They might be a little bit delayed because people are kind of holding on to their money. But if you showcase a good enough product, I guarantee they're going to spend it.
That's a great way to end this. You know what, Ben? Thank you so much for joining me on the podcast today. Where can people reach out to you if they want to follow you?
So you can reach out to my Instagram. So I think my Instagram handle is just like Zwart Ben. So ZWART and then Ben. If you just look up Ben De Zwart, I'm sure I'm the only one on Instagram that has that name. Or Facebook as well, if you want to go old school and do it on that one as well.
Great. Thank you once again for joining me on the podcast.
Yeah, of course.
That wraps up another episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to Performance Theory with Mike Clark so you never miss an episode. And while you're there, don't forget to rate and review us. We're available for free at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and everywhere else where you get your streaming audio. You can also listen at MikeClarkLife.com. Check the show notes for more information about what you heard here today and links to all of our guests. If you want to reach out to me, you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Mike Clark Life. You can email me as well, Mike@PureWellnessStudio.com. We'll see you next time for more Performance Theory.